Blended workforces are one of the hottest talent strategies today, where employers are using a mix of traditional employees with external resources like independent contractors, coaches, consultants, vendors, and technology solutions, all in order to enhance competitiveness, ensure cost flexibility, and expedite business goals. But how are the successful companies infusing blended workforces into their business strategy? And what are the critical success factors and pitfalls to avoid during implementation? And on the flip side, what does it really take for suppliers to improve their chances of finding and landing contract opportunities? The devil is in the details, my friends. I'm your host, Karen Farrell Rhodes, and it's time to get smarter about blended workforces at work. Hello, my superstar. This is Karen, and welcome to another episode of the Blended Workforces at Work podcast. We have a treat for you on today's show. We're absolutely thrilled to have as our guest Dmytro. I might have mispronounced his name because you know me and my Southern drawl, but we're going to go with it. Dmytro Gryn, who is the CEO of a company called Jooble. And Jooble is an international job aggregator and job posting search engine that helps professionals discover new opportunities to explore new companies and to kickstart their careers. I was so excited to invite him on the podcast today because we all know the importance that technology solutions have both on blended workforces and on the world of work in general. And come to find out, they also have some experience with, in their company as well, with freelancers. So we're going to tap into a little bit of all of that, but we are so happy to have you on this episode, Dmytro. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. And we can't wait to learn more about the company and how you all are really helping to make a difference in the world. But before we delve into all of that, we always love to know just a tad bit more about our guests. So, for just as much as you feel comfortable, can you give us a sneak peek into your life outside of work?
Easy. My name is Dmytro. I live in Kyiv, Ukraine. I'm married. I have a dog. I play a bit of a guitar right here. And I'm going to become a sales bot captain when the war in Ukraine will be over.
Oh, really? That's fantastic. That is amazing. And so we had to have listeners. We had the chance to do a little pre-chat before the session, and so I know we're all, especially since a lot of my listeners are in the U.S. and Europe. You know, we're very sensitive to the war that's going on in Ukraine, and we our hearts and prayers really go to the community, the international community of Ukraine, because there are citizens that are located throughout the world that this is top of mind for them for. So we're very, very honored to have you all, on the podcast. And, we're really thinking about and hoping that the war will come to an end very soon. So just wanted to have a
Thank,
personal point of
thank
privilege
you.
to say that. Okay, well, let's dive in. And I know I did not do Jubal justice in its description. So if you wouldn't mind, Dmytro, could you share with us why Jubal was founded and what you all actually do?
Jooble was founded in 18 years ago in 2006. Jooble was basically at the first place a response of our founders to the situation on the job search market. That was extremely hard to find a job or an employee because the huge amount of opportunities was fragmented on the different websites. So if we have the best and the most popular and the largest job board in some countries, usually they do have posted like 20% of the unique job opportunities. And if you really want to find the best, the jobs that suits you the best, you will need to go through dozen of sites at least. So they decided that we will set up the site which will allow you to look through all of them just at one time.
That's amazing. And if you are looking for a new role or a new job opportunity, having such an aggregator saves that person a lot of time when time is of the essence, because most people really need to find another job very quickly. So I'm curious, how does your business model work? How do you all make revenue? Is it via ads? Is it via partnerships, or some other method?
That would be both. Actually, we have some ads on our websites. It's not a secret. You can see them with the bare eyes. And of course, we offer our partners, our clients, to promote their jobs on our platform. So when the job seeker have a wide choice, it's really hard to grab the attention with your offer, because they may be very similar. And so we offer this promotion. We will highlight, we will recommend, we will do the match, personalized match, your job posting with the job seeker. We can afford that because we have a huge amount of data for all the years. We have a huge amount of data, and we will have like really enhanced internal machine learning algorithm to do that. So we would also earn revenues for promoted of job postings.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. Now, you being CEO, I'm sure there are a lot of things that are top of mind for you to in order to keep the business in the best competitive position it can be, and while also serving your customers. Can you share a couple of things that you're focusing on right now to ensure that Jooble's experience is, wonderful for the clients that you serve?
Yeah, our main goal right now is going even deeper with the personalization I already mentioned. Because hard thing about job search market right now is that with the rise of generative AI technologies, we do have we are bombed from every side with the advertisements, and we
Yeah.
know that behind one actual job posting we could have uh, thousands of advertisements, and it's hard for the person just to filter that, to understand that actually you can send your CV 10 times for the different advertisements, but you're still applying for the same job, for the same table. So we see our vision to build the kind of personalized system that will allow you to match directly with the job posting, skipping all these ads, yeah, but highlighting the most important parts of job postings for you, because when you have thousands of ads, it is hard for user, for the job seeker to look through them. But for our system, it's really easy to merge them and to understand this final job description even better, to match it with our job seeker.
Interest Do you have any concern? Because every leader that I talk to on the podcast envisions Gen AI to eventually adapt, cause them to have to pivot or adapt or improve the way you deliver your services. How do you anticipate? Are you using Gen AI now? Number one, and then number two, how do
Of
you
course.
anticipate? I knew the answer. I just wish you to talk a little bit more about it. But how do you see it impacting your strategy moving forward?
Okay, I will not say about our strategy detailed and its
Okay,
relation
no,
to
please
Gen
don't.
AI here, but in general, my view is like the following: the Gen AI is a great tool which can't deliver the value just itself. So with the internet, it's a great tool that can deliver the value itself. But the company that will onboard new technology and that will find the most efficient way to enhance its value proposition using this new technology, of course, will win against the company who wouldn't. So we are totally not ignoring Gen AI, but we are not standing at the point that Gen AI will solve all our problems, because at the end of the day, the business is not about some kind of technology. It's about value composition, and technology is just a tool to deliver the value.
Now, you were so kind to share. Well, people, my listeners need to know you're not a solopreneur. This is a very established company with many employees. So I'm curious: is most of your workforce in a single location, or is it distributed throughout the globe?
Right now, speaking of full-time employees, we have 300 full-time employees. Most of them are located in Kiev, Ukraine. It will be about 200. The rest of them, 50-50, or either in other cities in Ukraine or abroad. But the most of full-time employees are still Ukrainians.
It's really how do you manage with the war conflict that's going on right now? Because I'm sure there's disruptions, there's air raids, I'm sure there are things that you all have to focus on sometimes that are unexpected that might be in the middle of a workday, right? So, how are you all managing to be very flexible and agile based on what comes up?
First of all, we have no choice. We need to be flexible and agile to survive. Yeah, but speaking of work-related matters, we understand that the times are extremely hard. So when we decided to switch our management mode from just demanding management to supporting management, that meaning emotional support, meaning deep empathic conversation, meaning sometimes that might sound like silly for a manager. The thing I did the most through the last 3 years is forbidding people to work, to overwork, basically. Because the people during the war, they're trying to escape from the reality into their jobs, work. And they just starting to do stuff 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day. When I was young, I thought that it's a good idea to work 14 hours a day. Right now, I'm not so young. I don't think
Oh,
that is a
you're
good
pretty,
idea. So yeah, we switched to that supporting and empathetic mode with people, and yeah, I think that that's really works out. And I know that not every company doing those kind of things. We're completely honest with our people. We're not trying to sing them some lullabies that are that everything will be good, just be calm and relaxed and such. So when you're honest with people, they are ready to face some challenges, to face hard things. They're not paralyzed when something happens. Yeah, of course, on basic level, we are doing huge amounts of job to make our office the place that always is online with electricity and such and such and such. But yeah, with people, it's empathy and support first of all.
fantastic. I totally understand that. And it sounds like you as a CEO, you're very agile yourself to stay close to the needs of, your employees and
I'm
provide the
not, I'm not,
necessary
not
support.
always, not always was a CEO. I started as a software developer and was a Scrum Master. Actually, I'm a certified
Freelancer.
Scrum Master. So yeah, that's why maybe I'm so agile.
Oh, gotcha. I did not know that about you. Oh, that's amazing. I used to work at Microsoft, so I'm, quite familiar with a lot of the different skill sets that are needed for technology companies. So, I did not know. That's interesting. Wow, from Scrum Master, and look at you now, leading up such a wonderful, wonderful company. You were so kind to share that you have some experiences with onboarding freelancers, and I'd love to hear the story behind that, as well as if you could share the story around the division that you all were trying to create around having freelancer on your site for opportunities, but why you made the business decision that that might not be the best for Jooble. Would you mind sharing those stories with us?
Yeah, sure. So about our freelancers, I will split the story in two because we as a company we have freelancers of two lane types. The first one is mass hiring when you need to do like standard typical work. We need usually hire data mapping or data entry specialists. We have a lot of data. We need to do data science, so we need this data mapped. And we had a project. On the peak, we had like 100 specialists working as a freelancers on a daily basis. And we realized that, data mapping is not actually a dream job, I guess. So we had a problem with engagement and with turnover. And turnover is pretty painful because you need to fill the place when people are leaving. So we decided what we could do to engage the people, and we implemented in our platform while they was working with the data. We implemented a simple gamification mechanism, like they had achievements with badges for some kind of some kind of
So
work
kinda
they
gamifying it.
done. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and we have leaderboard, and on the leaderboard they can challenge each other for the first three places, and then the leaders and people who get enough badges, they could use it to buy our corporate merch. So
Interesting.
we would send them. There's all remote workers all over the Ukraine at the point of time, but we were selling by post corporate merch, and that really impacted well. Our turnover declined like 2 times. Yeah, so that's with this part. Of course, we are a technology company. We have a development with different products, prototypes, and we need to grow our R&D team on a project basis sometime. So here we're using maybe not very typical approach. We onboard the freelancer to the company and business context as they would be just regular full-time employees. And when the project is over, we are still communicating with them. So we prefer not to search for a new person every time, but to have a content base of people who work with us, and we did good to offer new projects to them. So they already know about the business context and some updates. Just some updates will be needed to perform. And my favorite part here, a significant amount of these R&D freelancers are former Jooble employees who
Interesting.
are working at their new places, but they're still willing to have some gig to earn some money. So that's win-win. They want a gig, and we want a person who already know something about the business, about the technology infrastructure. So we just just working with them.
See, that's fascinating because in the US, it's very rare that I don't say very rare. It was probably rarer than probably overseas that because we have so many laws around gig workers and freelancers and how employers can interact with them, that many don't stay in touch with them, after they leave the company. But I think that is such a smart strategy because they know your company, they know how it works. There's very little ramp time to start a new project, and you get those skills immediately and get them productive immediately by keeping them in their, own special group that you can tap onto them when needed. That is extremely smart to be able to do. And it sounds like the employment laws in Ukraine allow you to do that in an easier way than maybe in the
Yeah,
States. So
Ukrainian
it's
laws
awesome.
allow you to have one full-time job and not full-time jobs in addition.
That's interesting. So, and can you share again about the second one about the why there's no such thing as the successful projects aggregator?
Yeah, it's hard. We tried to do one by our own. There are two main differences between like searching for a full-time job and searching for a project. One from the value proposition side, and one from the technology side.
Mhm.
So our core idea that if you are working with a job aggregator, you can find the perfect, the most suitable job for you, because we do have all of them on the same platform. And working with the freelance projects and with the end users, we realized that this is not the case for them, because the price of the mistake when you're looking for workplace is really high. You will waste your time. You will become crazy and burn out maybe. Yeah,
It's
and
true.
there's really high risks. But with the freelance project, the price of the mistake is extremely low. Yeah, usually short term, and the worst thing that you will get, you will be sad and have a few beers in the bar after work, and that's all. But still, if it all would be easy to implement, we might do that, or anyone might do that. But there is a huge technical problem with that. The problem is still intact with the searching for a full-time job, because they're popping up and disappearing
Yes.
very fast. And when you have millions of job postings in your database, and you need to be sure that they are all still open and still looking for applicants. The timing there is at least a few days. So you don't need to invest that much into performance and into infrastructure for keeping the data fresh. And with the freelance projects, when they pop out and disappear in a half an hour, you will need to print that huge bag of money just to solve that
Yeah.
task to your project to be helpful. So when we were thinking about it, we tried to do that. We were aggregating freelance jobs, but we, through the data, through the A/B tests, and through the communication with customers, we realized that the value is low and the technical complexity is really high. So we calculated the money and decided, okay, that's not really a good investment. And since there, it was, I don't know, like 8 years ago, Jooble is not working with any kind of freelance jobs, and we are focusing on helping to find a full-time workplace, or maybe a part-time workplace, but still it's about joining the company, not just doing some project. Yeah, so I think other people just do the same math, and that's why we don't have that kind of solutions.
I think you're spot on because, even in my business, you don't know, we support human resources, strategic human resources consulting, and you don't really look on job boards for projects. It's really, they, pop up during a staff meeting at a company, and hopefully someone in your network hears about it and reaches out to you or knows about your company and comes to you. But I can imagine the return on investment is very low for such an aggregator when it's hard when the culture right now is not to post a lot of these projects. And to your point, they pop up and pop away so quickly. You take advantage of the opportunity. And it sounds like a good strategic business decision to stick with what you're doing now, a reliable model. That sounds interesting. Well, gosh, it's fascinating. I could talk to you for hours, but we're running a little bit short on time. But before we let you go, we have a signature question that we always ask our guests. And as you know, my company did research and wrote a book on leadership execution. And, in the world of work, everybody needs to sharpen their skills a little bit. But out of our research, we found 4 bucket areas that are very important no matter your job or initiative that you're working on. And we love to ask our guests which of the 7 we write about really resonated with you. And all equal is important. But for you, you were so kind to share that leading with executive presence really popped for you. And for my new listeners out there, leading with executive presence is all about making, clear and convincing, either oral or written, presentations, or sharing your perspective or point of view to others in a way that influences them to follow your lead. So I'm sure you value that, especially in your role as CEO, Dmytro. But can you share with us why you think executive presence is an important skill for anyone to have?
Sure. You see, from my point of view, the idea that the manager somehow directly manage or control the business is an illusion. The only thing that manager actually do is communicating with people. So thinking about executive presence, I'm talking to you about the communication is not just make one presentation and make one post in some kind of corporate messenger or write an email. The communication, as you know, they say, when you are sick of repeating it, then you are just starting to defer.
There you
So
go.
you need constant presence and repeating your communication to influence the people in a good way and to help them to go aligned and drive the company. So that's why the executive presence is the most important thing.
Well, I got to high five you on that one. That's a great perspective to share. And you're right. That is why it's so, so very important in anything that do, especially in your professional endeavors as well. Well, we're going to have a lot of information about you, your bio, and links to your company in our show notes. But I always love to give our guests a little bit of airtime to share where folks can find your company or find you if they're interested in reaching out. So what's the website for Jooble?
That would be Jooble.org. That will show our website for United States, and at the bottom of the page there are link for other 66 countries where we are working.
Nice.
Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn. Maybe to find me on Twitter, but I actually don't write anything. I just have a Twitter.
Oh, well, we'll definitely have the links that you shared with us in the show notes. So listeners, make sure you definitely take a look and get in touch if need be, but definitely leverage Jubal because it is a fantastic job opportunity aggregator and can be a fantastic tool as you're looking for your next best opportunity. So I hope you all take a definite look at that. Well, that's all the time we have for today. But thank you, Dmytro, for your time, your efforts, helping us to better understand the world of job aggregators, and much continued success to you and your teams.
That was my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. And thank you to listeners for the gift of your time because we do know that there are literally millions of other podcasts out there that you could be listening to, and we do not take your patronage lightly. All we ask that you please be sure to like and subscribe and follow on your favorite podcast platform of choice, and just share our podcast with your best friend because by doing so, it will help us all get smarter about blended workforces at work. Thanks a ton and see you next week. Well, that's our show for today. Thank you again for listening to the Blended Workforces at Work podcast. You can check out the show notes, additional episodes, bonus resources, and also submit guest recommendations on our website at blendedworkforcesatwork.com. You can also follow me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, or YouTube by searching for the name Karen Rhodes, with Karen being spelled Karan. And if you like the show, the greatest gift you can give would be to subscribe and leave a rating on your favorite podcast platform of choice. This podcast has been a production of Shockingly Different Leadership, a global consultancy which helps organizations execute their people, talent development, and organizational effectiveness initiatives on an on-demand, contract, fractional, or project basis. Huge thanks to the SDL production and editing team for a job well done. Bye for now.